Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up and grab your favorite drink, because what we're about to unpack is not your everyday politics story. Right now in Malawi, the ground is shifting beneath our feet, and at the center of the storm is one name: Onani Azungu. Yes, that's right. Onani Azungu has stepped forward with a declaration that has everyone talking. We'll be getting more Mutharika passes. Now, hang on. What does that even mean? And more importantly, what does it signal for the power game here in Malawi? Over the next few minutes, we're going deep. We'll break down 5 major facts about this move, decode the language, analyze what it means for the parties, and help you see the ripple effects that could change everything. So settle in. This is not business as usual. Global Pulse News is on the scene, and we're about to deliver the kind of clarity you don't often get. Stay with us. We'll start right now. Here's the first shocker. Onani Azungu dropped a line that has set tongues wagging. We will pass more Mutharika. In Malawian political parlance, this isn't just a phrase thrown in casually. It's a bold assertion of increased significance, influence, and perhaps even new appointments. Think of it like someone saying, I'm going to move up in the game. But in Malawi, the Mutharika pass phrasing gives it local flavor, cultural weight, and political nuance. For Azungu to make that claim at this time suggests he believes his position is stronger than many assume. He's signaling to his opponents, watch out, I'm rising. Now, in the context of a party system where chairs, seats, committees, and portfolios are hard fought, this kind of proclamation can serve as both a rallying cry and a warning shot. It alerts allies, get on board because I'm about to make moves. And it sends a message to rivals, I'm not waiting. What's more, by publicly declaring it rather than quietly negotiating behind the scenes, Azungu is making a spectacle of confidence. He knows the cameras are watching, he knows the blowback could come, but he appears ready nonetheless. In Malawi's theater of politics, boldness often wins more media airtime than caution, and that in turn shapes public perception. So fact 1 isn't just about words, it's about a strategic move aimed at shifting the narrative, influencing who watches, who supports, and who fears. But hold on, if the declaration is the headline, then the real story lies in the subplots. Let's zoom in on what Mutharika really means in this setting. Alright, here comes some translation work. When Onani Azungu says Mutharika, he isn't just referring to a job title or a seat, he's tapping into a local metaphor, a cultural shorthand for elevation, recognition, and political weight. To borrow an analogy, imagine a game of checkers where most players are stuck on the baseline, and someone announces they're going to promote to the king's row. That's what Azungu is signaling. In the Malawian political vernacular, you'll hear it Mutharika pass, used to imply improved status, influence, maybe even leverage over resources or decisions. So fact 2 is about understanding the language, because without it, you might misread the magnitude of what's claimed. For Azungu to talk about more Mutharika means he anticipates a shift in power dynamics, not just for himself, but potentially for a cohort of supporters. It's as if he's inviting a wave. When I rise, you rise. And that changes the calculation for alliances, loyalty, and opposition. For his opponents, this raises alarms. What if his rise means your fall? And for observers like us, it means keeping an eye on how the party machine responds. Will they accommodate him or push back? Will they upgrade his status quietly or fight him publicly? The language Azungu uses might sound casual, but the meaning underneath is serious. And that's why this fact matters, because in politics, words aren't just words, they are moves on the board. Now, with the language decoded, let's look at the board itself, the party dynamics within which this rise is being played out. Here's where things get interesting. The announcement by Azungu has triggered what we might call an internal party earthquake. In a political organization where seats of power are tightly contested, his move is shaking the foundations. Let's put it in everyday language. Imagine a flock of birds suddenly changing direction mid-flight. The ripple is felt instantly. Inside his party, some members are reading the signal in 2 ways. 1, Azungu is positioning himself as a power broker, and 2, the existing power structure might feel threatened. When that happens, alliances start being reassessed, whispered conversations happen behind closed doors, and every handshake gets a second look. For example, if Azungu is promised or assumes more Mutharika, that might imply that certain gatekeepers will lose influence. The old guard might not be thrilled, the middle-tier player eyes narrow. What's the reaction? Some might rally to him, believing his star is rising. Others might band together to blunt his advance. And this internal friction has external consequences. When a party appears divided, the voters see it. When leaders hedge their bets, it weakens unity. And when announcements like Azungu's aren't backed by action, credibility takes a hit. Thus, Fact three's importance. The blaze of a proposal is nothing without the fuel of execution, and the party's internal reactions will determine whether this is just a headline or a real movement. For our Malawian audience, this isn't more than gossip. It's about whether the political machine is shifting or simply rearranging chairs while pretending nothing changed. On to the next layer, what the people on the ground are saying, the public response that often dictates whether a political wave becomes a tsunami or just a ripple. Now we shift focus from inside the party to the streets of Malawi. The public response to Azungu's claim matters because in politics, no rise is sustainable without legitimacy from the base. So what are people saying? Some citizens are cheering, finally, someone bold, they say. Others are skeptical. Just talk again. This dichotomy is key. For some communities, Azungu's message resonates because many feel sidelined, hungry for upward mobility, eager for representation. For those groups, more Mutharika is a signal of hope. But for other segments, the same message triggers cynicism. We've heard promises before. Where's the proof? The poll booth pulse, the mood, sentiment, excitement, can shift campaigns, endorsements, and ultimately elections. If Azungu's claim connects with voters who feel undervalued, he could leverage that momentum. But if the message is seen as empty or alienates other supporters, it could backfire. In Malawi's media sphere, we're seeing commentary, social media chatter, and community discussions framing this as either a rising star moment or a risky gamble. And in markets, bars, and village gatherings, these dialogues are happening. That's why Fact 4 is pivotal, because without the public's buy-in, elevation can falter. The machinery might move, but if human hearts don't follow, the whole thing can stall. In the coming weeks, watch for local rallies, grassroots endorsements, and campaign chatter. Those are the signals that tell whether the rise is real or just a headline. All right, you've seen the declaration, you've decoded the language, you've witnessed the internal tremors, you've sniffed the public reaction. Now the big question, what's next? Where does this shark swim? Here we stand at the threshold of possibilities. Onani Azungu has thrown down the gauntlet, but what's the future path? What's at stake? If his claim of more Mutharika passes is to be taken seriously, we're looking at several scenarios. 1, he secures appointments, portfolios, or elevated roles. 2, he builds a network of supporters who rise with him. 3, he reshapes the power matrix of his party and perhaps beyond. But the stakes are high. If he miscalculates, he risks isolation, backlash, and damage to his credibility. For his party, accommodating him might mean shifting resources, upsetting existing power balances, or provoking rivals. For Malawi's broader political environment, this could signal a generational change, a realignment of loyalties, or even a precursor to election-time maneuvers. Moreover, for everyday citizens, it might translate into new leadership, fresh voices in decision-making, or it could simply be old promises dressed in new language. So Fact 5 matters because it is about outcomes, not just talk. Think of it like loading the cue ball in a billiards game. The shot is taken when the cue hits the ball. Now we watch the ball scatter. The next moves will show whether Azungu's rise is strategic or symbolic, and for Malawi, whether the players adapt or resist will shape who holds the levers of power. Keep an eye on upcoming announcements, cabinet reshuffles, local endorsements, mobilizations. They're the breadcrumbs of the path ahead. And there you have it, folks, 5 deep dives into what on the surface might look like a headline, but underneath is a full-on story of ambition, language, movement, and stakes here in Malawi's political arena. If you enjoyed this breakdown and you want more of this kind of sharp, no-nonsense reporting from Global Pulse News, hit that like button. If you're new here, please subscribe and make sure the notification bell is on so you never miss what's next. We're also proud of our sister channels, Sparkling Kids and Rema Famra. For kids' education and fun, let's grow together as family. Leave a comment right now. What do you think? Is Onani Azungu poised to transform Malawi's power game, or is this just a risky bet? Share your thoughts and share this video with a friend who wants to stay ahead of the game. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, stay curious. We'll catch you in the next one.